peeps, it's Andercon. I'm here in this bunker of mine, and some time ago I made a whole bunch of special super apple trees of doom, and I'm going to start doing a little bit something with them. Now, these are specially bred apple trees. They're actually silver lime trees that have been bred to have apples, and triple sapling drops, and a large quantity of apple drops. But today I'm just going to start on the wood. Now here's my turtle. You may remember from some time ago I wrote a turtle program that's quite fully featured. Now this guy's been going for some time, and I actually updated this guy recently. It's got a handful of extra features, like over here in the farm layout. You can now tell him to put his first row to the left or the right of where he's at. And so I got this guy, and it's just going in and out of this little hole, chopping down all these trees every now and then. And he does pretty good work. It doesn't take him that long to chop down a whole lot of trees. Like, look at all this extra junk I've just been saving up. All these apples, all these saplings. One tree can drop like 40 saplings and 30 apples. But I'm just going to go with the wood, and there's something special I'm going to do with the wood. Now, here I got this generator, and it can, you know, just take regular old planks, or you could throw in charcoal, or you could throw in your straight old boring logs. But you get the most out of it if you turn all that crap into scaffolds. You can actually get triple the quantity of power out of scaffolds than you can out of turning the stuff into charcoal. So 8 logs can give me a hell of a lot more in charcoal, scaffolds, than it can in charcoal. So I'm going to go ahead and create a system to convert all these logs automatically into scaffolds, and then I'm going to run it into a huge bank of generators, and it's going to keep my power all topped up all the time. That way I don't have to run my nuclear power all the time. So first thing with this was, well, obviously to get it pretty much to get a tree farm that's rather automatic going all the time, more or less. The only thing I got to do is if I restart the server, I got to restart the program on the turtle. But other than that, this thing runs pretty normally. So this guy, when he's out of his menu, takes around 900 seconds or so between his runs. And he tends to get me about a stack and a half, maybe 2 stacks of wood each time. So I'm just going to drop down here and get started. The other thing I had to do, honestly, was filter out the saplings and the apples from this other chest. That way it didn't get all clogged up. Because sometimes, like, if you had apples in here, he would pick up the apples and go, oh, that's no good. I need to throw that in this other chest over here, which is usually reserved for the wood. But I didn't want to have this thing get clogged up with apples, so I got apples running into another chest over here. I also wanted to do something special with the saplings and turn those into biofuel later. So I got the majority of those running to a separate chest away from the turtle, and he happens to get a handful every great now and then, just enough to get by. So first thing I'm going to start with is an emerald pipe. I'm just going to stick it right here. And I need a little bit of wood, pretty much just to program this thing, to pull out just wood. Just in case something else happens to end up in this particular chest, it'll only pull out wood, and in this case the lime wood. So I'm going to use a regular iron pumping gate. I still can't say that for for crap. I would love to hear the proper pronunciation of whatever that first word is on this gate. And that'll get me going. Now first I'm going to start pulling the stuff out of it and hook all the pipes up here. So I'm going to run all this stuff over to probably about here. Oops, I just blew the heck out of my own wall. Oh well, that's the Vajra for you. That thing's super powerful. Just breaks everything. Alright, so I'm gonna try going up this hole. Now I had tested this thing 2 other times and had a other version that was like scooted against the wall a little bit more, but it was too tight for my liking, so I'm gonna make a slightly different version and hopefully it'll still turn out right. Now here's an auto crafting table, And here's how you make one of those, in case you're wondering. Wood gear around regular crafting table. Pretty simple stuff. And I'm just going to stick a log in that, and it'll give me lime wood planks. And you can pipe into this from any side, even the top, bottom, left, right, all over the place. And it knows whether it's being sucked on, basically, by a pipe rather than being pulled on. Let's see, how did I have this thing set up? I could do it this way, for sure. Now this would give me... Alright, I need to hook all this stuff up to a chest somewhere. Actually, I'm going to put it right here and knock this one off. And you got to make sure this is going the right way. I think that's the right direction. So this chest here, I'm going to stick 3 of these wooden transport pipes on. And that's kind of oddball in a way. Like, you really only need 2, you would think, but because of the way these iron and gates pump and the way this particular recipe goes, you're going to need 3. Now, they all pump wood, since this thing's always going to have just wood in it. And it's all going to get pumped into this in a strange manner. Now this particular one's going to get wood and get turned into sticks. It'll take 4 sticks. Over on this other side, I'm just going to wrap all this mess around a bit. And I think I'll put this right... where do I want to put all this stuff? I could put this stuff up in the air just a nudge, and it might help me out. Yeah, I think I'll put this right here. And... alright, you, go over there. Okay, I also need a iron transport pipe. And you could probably make this stuff a whole lot more compact. Actually, I could probably make this slightly more compact with a little less pipe just by doing it this way instead. There we go. Now, I'll have to make sure I point this thing in the right direction after I got it hooked up. Next up, I need to get all this stuff to an auto crafting table. I'm going to put it, say right here, just for the fun of it, basically. And put this here. And see this iron pipe right here? The clear spot is down and needs to be on the left. So that's everything will go out the clear part. And this is because I need to have basically twice as much wood going to this particular crafting table than I do sticks, more or less. So the recipe is 3 planks and 3 sticks will give me 16 scaffold. And that's pretty much how I'm going to get a ridiculous quantity of power out of just a little bit of wood. And let's see, I think that's pretty much it on all of those. Now I just got to hook everything else back up. I got to go ahead and put in the rest of these gates here and there. And I don't need to go down there yet. And a gate there. Okay. Got a cobblestone structure pipe here. Now I could put the on-off switch to this basically anywhere, but I'm going to stick it probably right here with a lever. That'll be simple. Pretty simple switch. And all this cobble pipe should well, it allows me to hook up the red pipe wire basically. And that's the only reason why I have any of this structure pipe. I need to run this red cobblestone, or not cobblestone, this red pipe wire all over the place here, and make sure I hit all the gates with it. And anytime I have any of this stuff on, like if this red pipe wire is on, I need it to turn on all the pumping gates and go ahead and get to work. I'll probably have to get on the other side of this briefly. Just put that back there. Put this here. Make sure I actually put a gate in here. Yes, I did. Alright, I'll go ahead and start with this one. If it has a red pipe signal, it will start pumping stuff. Let me get out of this hole. Okay. Same thing with pretty much all the rest of these. Yeah, that's correct. Energy pulsar. And energy pulsar there. And an energy pulsar there. Don't really need anything too fancy on this particular getup. And in my opinion, if for whatever weird reason I accidentally ever make too much of this stuff, it's basically junk material. I was going to run all this wood through a recycler and get scrap anyway if I didn't do this, so I don't really care if I lose something eventually. But I actually tested this and it turned out to be almost perfect. I have a wonderful ratio. I just need one more iron ore gate. I need to stick it right here next to wherever you happen to have this lever. And it just needs to say if it has a redstone signal on, have a red pipe signal. I'm going to go ahead and double check all these. Okay, this thing's making wood like it's supposed to be. That one's making sticks. This is taking wood and sticks and making me scaffold. Alright, next up, just for testing anyway, I'm just going to hook all this stuff up to a simple chest. And just to show you how it works, or that it does work anyway. And so when I turn all this thing on, it'll pull out a bunch of wood, and I'm just going to start with one stack for testing anyway. And it'll run it through this whole machine, and I'll get a whole bunch of scaffolding. So let's go ahead and start this thing up real quick. Alright, here comes my wood, and it hits this golden pipe, and it goes pretty quick once it hits that. It's flying. That's awesome. Gotta love that wood. Yeah! Alright, so you can basically see a solid line of wood coming in through there. Whole bunch of wood flowing in this way. And all this stuff, it doesn't matter that this is running at 2 different speeds. It'll all end up in the same area eventually. So this thing's getting its wood, making sticks, and immediately sticking them up here. And then making my scaffold. Now, it makes me a lot of scaffold. A huge amount of scaffold. But I think it actually pulls it out and stacks a little 16 stacks and stuff at a time. Yeah, it does. So it works quite well. My pump didn't have to work too hard to get this thing done. That's good news. So once this thing runs through all of its wood, I should have maybe one piece of one little plank left over. I believe is all that gets left behind after it's done with all the sticks. And I think sometimes maybe I have actually several. I got three of them left behind this time. Oh well, close enough. Maybe something got stuck in the system somewhere or whatever. But pretty close. And now I got a whole crap load of scaffolding. I can run into a bunch of generators. So this works really well and is far more energy efficient than making it into charcoal, especially since I can get triple the quantity of EU out of the scaffolding than I can out of the charcoal. Plus you'd have to spend a bit of EU just to smelt the charcoal unless you were using something else to smelt it with besides power. And that would, you know, put an extra strain on my system, but this works a lot better. And this thing will pretty much keep it running all the time. So next thing I got to do really is I got a couple options here. I could possibly pipe this pipe right here into a whole bunch of chests and then have a whole bunch of more gates stuck on the side of the chests, and that'll pump it all into all the other like a whole huge crap ton of generators. Or I could just pump it straight into the generators. But I think I'll store it and then have the option to turn it off or on. So I'm going to have to get a hold of all the materials for that. BRB. I went ahead and got everything else I needed. We're going to start with some glass fiber cable. I just happen to have an utter crap ton of diamonds, so it's really not any problem for me to use this stuff. You could use copper cable, insulated preferably, for this if you really wanted to. But you probably lose a little bit of energy on the run if you had this big of a system running this far. But it would do the trick. So this is pretty much going to be a strange system that's like the first half of it over here is all buildcraft and gates and stuff, and the second half, the part that fills up the all the generators, is going to be pretty much entirely red power stuff. And so we're going to start with the pipes right here, and there's all the actually that's the fiber cables, and that should be pretty much English, mofo. Can I speak it? Not usually. So that should cover the power output. And no, I'm not going to put the stuff. I'm not going to put the generator right here. I'm going to pretty much put it out one block away, from the wall. That way I've got enough room to work with. Now these here are filters. These will pull out the scaffolds, and it can pull out an entire stack at a time, which is pretty nice, and that way I don't have to really do a whole lot. Like, these don't have to run hardly ever, just every great now and then, however long it takes to fill these things up with a stack of these things every, I don't know, 30 seconds? Maybe even less. But anyway, and when I put them down, they're backwards. So this is the sucking face, and this here is the output face. So I'm just going to turn these things around with this sonic screwdriver. You can use a regular screwdriver if you really want. I got some redstone tubes, and we're going to put down the redstone tubes right here, just along the back end of these. And then I'm going to go ahead and hook up some of the all the red power redstone into this whole mess. And we're going to start right here, and you could just use a piece of redstone for this specific thing I'm doing. For instance, if I just place down a piece of redstone, it'll connect to it. But I want it to look a little bit extra fancy, and so if you want to get one of these jacketed iron wires to, or any kind of jacketed wire, to hook up to some of this particular red alloy wire, you have to put the red alloy wire on the floor and then place it down on top of it, and it'll hook right up. And then from there I'm going to have a timer set right here. I'm just going to, for testing or whatever sake, I'm just going to put it on 30 seconds or something. I could probably run that at 15 or something like that if I really wanted to, but I don't really want it to pulse very often, because it really doesn't need to, and it would probably just lag my server a little bit if I really hooked it up and really let it go full blast all the time. So this particular wire is going to be going to a particular machine, or a power storage unit, an MFSU. I just happen to have a spare one sitting in here in this bag. There it is. Now the reason why I'm using an MFSU rather than something smaller is I have to hook up the power to this cable here, which already has an MFSU hooked up to it, so I absolutely have to have something that has a 500 or 512 voltage, and I think I put this on backwards. So it's got a dot on it somewhere, and I believe in this case the dot is the output. Here's my wrench. So I'm going to just take this and move it down. Actually, I'm going to put it in that way, because I really want to put a red alloy wire right here, I guess. And we'll see if this screws something up later. But anyway, I'm going to hook up the rest of this stuff, or the rest of the power, through here with some of this extremely expensive glass fiber cable. And it's going over to my huge bank of MFSUs. And this will hook into it quite nicely. I'll just take it this way. A little too far. Come here, you. Alright, nothing exploded. That's good news. And let's see. Next up, I got to run all the pipes. I got regular and pneumatic tubes for this. I'm just going to put down some on the bottom here. Over to here, I guess. And then the next line. About there, that'll work. And the next line. I'll go all the way to the back. Into my face. Okay, now here you would say, oh, I'm pretty well ready for the generators, right? Well, there's one little extra step here. We got a small problem with the pipes and the generators. These particular generators, you have to put the items into the bottom if you want them to smelt or to burn. If something ends up in its top, it's basically the battery slot, and it's just going to sit there. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of these, I hope this will fit, a whole bunch of these iron panels, or covers in this case, on the bottom end of this. And let's just go ahead and grab a generator and see if this thing fits. It should. Yep, fits perfectly. And this will prevent the pipe up here from connecting to the top. Now, oh, they're already pushing stuff over. That's cool. Yep, it's got hold of a bit of stuff, and it's already putting some energy in here. Just a little bit, not much. And I'll go ahead and place the rest of these real quick. Just gonna keep on trying to send 5 stacks to it all the time. Now, the reason why I went with this red power over top of Buildcraft pipes is mostly for the return. For instance, you see that stuff running back? Well, that means the stuff's full. It'll push like the entire stack over. If it can't go anywhere, it'll go all the way back. It makes it a lot easier to handle the returns of items, especially if your equipment fills up. You don't really have to do anything. It's super low maintenance. I tried a system where I didn't have that, and it didn't really work as good as I'd like, so I just went with this. Simple, easy, it works. So next up, I got a whole crap ton of these generators. I'll just go ahead and put a bunch of these in here. I'm going to go 12 each line, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could probably stick 13 in each line by the looks of it. I might have to go make 3 more after a while. But this will work for now and for testing. And the last one ends up on the ceiling, which is sometimes a little hard to do. I'm not particularly used to hover mode, and I don't ever use it, so I don't know what the key is for it. And I probably changed it anyway. So far it's working. Yep, it's sending stuff here and there. I'll go ahead and fill all these things up as it sees fit, whenever it feels like doing it. And yep, there it goes. Alright, last little bit is anytime this MFSU happens to be full, yep, emit if full, so it'll emit a redstone signal if it ever fills up. Now, if this thing ever fills up, that means all my banks over here are filled up. And that's pretty much just turning the system off for when it's not needed. Another thing I'm going to try, and hopefully this won't screw something up later, is stick a lever right here and flick that. I need to break through my floor real quick. Not right there, right here. Not right there. Back here. It didn't quite do what I wanted. Now, this, as is, won't do anything. So I think what I gotta do is... Alright, where's my lever? Alright, so if I put the lever probably right here... Alright, that'll turn the system off as well. That's pretty much all I really needed. So it'll burn through all the stuff it's got in it, and then it won't put any new stuff in it if this particular powered line is on. And that way you got extra redundancy, or you can turn the thing off and on if you want, you know, in case you're having some horrible lag or you feel like using some other system, whatever floats your boat on that end. So this should work pretty good. Now I'll go ahead and turn this thing off and let this thing do its thing for a while. I think I'll actually increase or decrease this thing by, let's try 20 seconds, and that should work pretty good. Like only somewhere around 3/4 of them are running right now. So it's just trying to push its stuff through all of them. If it can't go into one, it'll try another. Kind of interesting to see. I do wonder though, if I took out this last generator and put it over on that end and looped this stuff around, I wonder if it would fill these things up a little bit better. It very well may. You never know. And my wife turns on the dryer. Oh, lovely. Oh well, that's not that loud. Shouldn't bother the video any. Alright, go ahead and put this here, put that there. Get out my pneumatic tube. Pop that. Put that there. put the pneumatic tube right here. Okay, this may actually fill them up a little bit better, and it'll still do the return with all the stuff running around. And it's running through my scaffold pretty good. I got a lot of it built up already. It didn't even take me that long to get all this stuff done, so this will be some good passive power, basically. I think I'll even take this last one and move it over. There we go. And where's it at? There's my generator. I'm gonna slap it right there. Well, actually, I got extra cables sticking out. I could probably save myself a nudge bit of cable here. Come on, pop. There we go. Ah, crap. That's not something I wanted to pop. Nor that. Oh, well. Come back here, you. Put you back. Put you back. Alright. And, is this the right type? Yes, redstone. Put that back. Okay, it's just about got them all running now. So it's looking pretty good. So I figure once every 30 seconds this thing pulsing would probably work just fine. And you could probably even run it with a lot less. So let's try 30. And I'll just keep an eyeball on it every grade now and then and see how it goes. So I wanted to use this as a nice means of some passive power in a way that's more or less free, that I don't really have to do any work for. Me running the nuclear reactors, since I got 3 of them all the time, that would probably eventually become a problem. And I just want to use this to keep the system topped up for, you know, the most part. And I also want to take all the saplings that this particular setup produces and turn them into biofuel and run them through biogenerators, which will also give me a bunch of EU, which is nice too. So I got a whole bunch of saplings off of this since it drops a lot. You can also turn the apple into apple juice, and that'll help you produce more biofuel even faster. So since I got all this stuff to do, to run through, I've been running this thing honestly not that particularly long. I just had it off and on every grade now and then for testing, and these trees are ridiculous. They produce so much stuff. I might as well grab a sapling, run back to my old house, and show you what this particular sapling's got on it. It is absolutely insane. I spent days and days trying to get this these saplings as powerful as I would like them to be. Now, I've only got them up to, say, normal apple producing, but that's because I don't think there's anything that produces above normal stuff. Now I've got to figure out what I did with my treealizer. I think it's over here. Oh, and I managed to get mahogany. This thing here is technically a yellow Morante tree, and that is pretty much an Asian knockoff version of mahogany. So here's mahogany. I honestly didn't know this stuff was in the game for real. For so long I couldn't figure out how to get a hold of mahogany. I thought it was not implemented right. But it is. Yellow Morante is what you're after if you want mahogany. That is your mahogany right there. Here's my treealizer. And here's my silver lime with part apple. Alright, so it produces apples. It's larger. It has the fastest maturity. Triple sapling drops. I had to breed the thing with balsa wood to get that. And it's just 1 by 1. Normal yield. I had to breed it with, let's see, cherry trees to get the yield up. And the sappiness. The sappiness doesn't have much use in this particular version of forestry, but supposedly in the next version of forestry, you'll be able to get more biofuel out of a higher sappiness sapling rather than a straight 800 or let's say 8/10 of a bucket per sapling. Some of them will be lower, some of them will be higher, and it'll all depend on the sappiness. So I hope you enjoyed, and maybe you learned something awesome about being able to make a cool system to keep your MFSUs topped up for cheap. Yeah, it's going to be pretty nice to be able to just run a little tree farm and keep my stuff topped up pretty simply and easily. Well, peeps, catch you later.